Geologist gets revenge on drunk neighbor, who blocks her car with Boulder. Living near others can be quite challenging. People don't always consider how their actions affect those around them. The internet is filled with horror stories about inconsiderate neighbors, but Melissa's neighbors took it to the extreme. After relocating from Kansas City to California, Melissa soon realized her new neighbors were inconsiderate jerks who constantly blocked her driveway with a large boulder. However, as a geologist, she was determined to teach them a lesson about messing with the wrong person. There are many ways neighbors can be a nuisance, such as making noise late at night or being overly nosy. Most bad neighbors are simply rude and inconsiderate, and if no one confronts them, they continue their behavior even after being spoken to. Taking a stand isn't always easy, but sometimes it's necessary. Melissa had dealt with problematic neighbors before, but she didn't expect trouble when she moved in while studying for her third degree. At first, her new undergraduate student neighbors seemed fine, but then they started blocking her driveway. Melissa and her roommates had a great living situation. They respected each other's spaces and schedules, avoiding typical roommate conflicts. They were grateful for their arrangement and renewed their lease together for 3 years. When the undergraduates moved in next door, Melissa was cautious but thought she'd gotten lucky again. Little did she know, it was the calm before the storm. Soon, the neighbors began repeatedly blocking her driveway with a boulder, prompting Melissa to take action as a geologist against their inconsiderate behavior. When undergraduates moved in next door, Melissa was initially cautious, but thought she had lucked out again as everything seemed fine at first. Little did she or her roommates know, this was merely the calm before the storm. "I never really had any issue until about a week and a half ago," Melissa wrote in a social media post. This is actually the second time this has happened. It's quite common for undergraduates to host raucous parties more frequently than graduate students, who have typically gotten that out of their system and are more accustomed to living independently. In her post, Melissa stated, "They've generally been pretty considerate with noise and keeping people out of our yard." Then the Boulder incident occurred. One night during a neighbor's party, Melissa noticed a guest's car blocking their driveway. Reasonably, she politely asked them not to block it and left a note requesting the car be moved by 7 a.m. The next morning, the car was gone, but a huge boulder had taken its place. Melissa worked hard on her studies, so after a long day, she cherished peace and quiet to unwind with a book. Sharing a neighborhood with many boisterous students was challenging, but she had managed well so far, finding relative tranquility to focus and relax. Little did she know the rocky road ahead with these inconsiderate neighbors. Early one morning, Melissa discovered a large boulder blocking her car in the driveway. It was evident the neighbors had moved the rock from their property onto Melissa's side of the fence. Despite knocking on their door, no one answered. It wasn't just some random stone either. Due to parking issues during their frequent parties, Melissa's neighbors had strategically placed the large boulder as a buffer to protect their fence from damage by bad drivers or improper parking. This seemed like a reasonable precaution, and there had been no issues with the rock's placement until now. Previously, there were no problems with the boulder's location. However, on this occasion, someone had inconsiderately moved it from the neighbor's side, dumping it squarely in Melissa's path, blocking her despite her polite request the previous night to keep the driveway clear. What initially seemed an innocent parking annoyance was about to escalate into an intolerable situation. Despite her efforts, Melissa could not move the massive rock herself. Knocking on the neighbor's door yielded no response to get assistance relocating it properly. Eventually, Melissa managed to get help returning the boulder to its original spot. However, the inconsiderate behavior soon turned outrageous. After one particularly rowdy party, Melissa had asked the neighbors to ensure no cars blocked her driveway overnight so she could leave for work. Yet, when she awoke, the boulder obstructed her car again, clearly an intentional, retaliatory act for her reasonable request the night before. Melissa knew relocating the boulder herself would only prompt her reckless neighbors to move it back onto her property. But they had gravely underestimated one crucial fact about Melissa that they would soon regret. Underestimating Melissa proved to be a colossal miscalculation for her new neighbors. Her petite frame may have misled them into thinking they could get away with driveway domination. However, they overlooked a crucial detail. Melissa was a geologist. This wasn't your typical neighborly dispute. Forget blasting music at 3 a.m. Melissa's weapon of choice was an auto chipper, a professional stone pulverizer. Tired of being inconvenienced, she decided to send a clear message: never underestimate the wrath of a geologist with a grudge and heavy machinery. 7:30 a.m. arrived, and with it, the glorious symphony of the auto chipper cranked to its maximum setting. Melissa, outfitted in protective gear, transformed into a stone-crushing boss. Geology? Who said it wasn't practical? Not her neighbors, that's for sure. The once pesky boulder was soon reduced to a pile of rubble, which she conveniently deposited near their doorstep. This geologic feat wasn't just for personal satisfaction. Melissa, a social media savant, shared her story on Twitter. By morning, her post had exploded, garnering over 10,000 retweets and 50,000 likes. It turned out her revenge resonated deeply. But Melissa, ever the strategic thinker, knew noise ordinances existed for a reason. Starting at 7:30 a.m., just after the legal limit, ensured maximum disruption. Earphones, good music, and a little passive-aggressive rage, she wrote, and you'd be surprised how quickly a boulder disappears. 4 hours, minimal breaks. Sure, she could have waited, but why not return the favor of a sleepless night? Now, with a steaming cup of tea in hand and a quiet house, Melissa could finally relax, leaving her neighbors to stew in the satisfying silence they'd so richly deserved. Sipping her tea in the quiet aftermath, Melissa savored a victory sweeter than any beverage. Eye contact with the boys confirmed it. One sheepish nod, the other wide-eyed with newfound respect. No more driveway games. A mutual understanding had been reached, loud and clear. This wasn't just a boulder conquered, it was a story begging to be told. Taking to Twitter, Melissa launched a live feed chronicling the entire saga. Was it her audacious revenge or witty narration? Who knows, but the internet buzzed. Tweets exploded, retweeted by thousands eager for the juicy details. Melissa, the unlikely hero, a volcanologist by trade, a boulder beating boss by necessity. Honestly, no issues until a week ago. Melissa confessed, bewildered by the viral response. Just a boulder and a noisy tool. What geologist wouldn't find that funny? Her revenge, a symphony of legality and satisfaction. The auto chipper's roar commenced precisely at 7:30 a.m., respecting noise ordinances they lift at 7 a.m. after all. A rivalry turned viral sensation. Melissa's story ignited a flurry of questions. Why the boulder? What possessed the neighbors? The internet craved answers, the silence outside Melissa's home a testament to her geological justice. The internet detectives were on the case. Spill the boulder tea. One tweet demanded, "Did they have beef with you?" Melissa, surprisingly, became the ultimate source. Her witty replies, dripping with sarcasm, painted a picture. Melissa, the horrid villain, who dared ask for her driveway clear by 7 a.m. after a party. The internet, however, wasn't buying it. The praise poured in. 5 a.m. revenge would have been epic. One user commented, much to Melissa's amusement. The viral response was overwhelming. Hundreds of new followers, all cheering the unlikely hero. Melissa, once a geologist facing a boulder, was now a social media star inspiring young girls to embrace science. I never expected this, she wrote, but maybe this can be a good thing. What do you think about Melissa's situation? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching.